This one here that we're gonna play
This
is like stupid new. Alright? Just stupid new. We're just gonna play it because what the hell, why not, right?
Right.
You guys wanna hear a stupid ass new song, right?
Yeah.
Cool. It's a little different, but it's fun.
Hey. Yeah.
Dance if we want to, we can leave your friends behind. Cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well they're no friends of mine. I said, we can go where we want to, place where they will never find. And we can act like we come from out of this world, leave the real one far behind. We can dance. We can dance. We can go when we want to, the night is young and so am I. And we can dress real neat from our hats to our feet and surprise them with a victory cry. I said, we can act if we want to, if we don't, nobody will. And you can act real rude and totally removed, and I can act like an imbecile. Say, we can dance, everything's under control. We can dance, doing it wall to wall. We can dance, everybody look at your hands. We can dance, everybody's taking a chance. Who's to say to dance? Yes, to say to dance. Yes, to say to dance.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. Now we should be good. No echo? No echo? Echo, echo, no echo? I think we might have actually gotten it live. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. It has been a hell of a day already. So first and foremost, thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the What Did I Say show? The show where I hold us accountable for the shit that we talk on the I'm No Joe podcast. This weekend has been an extremely long weekend for multiple reasons, but specifically in the world of fights, holy shit, has there been a lot going on. We had the Bellator 245 card on Friday night. We had the Bellator 246 card on Saturday night, and we also had the UFC Watterson versus Hill card event at the Apex on Saturday night just before Bellator 246. There was a lot of fights this weekend. So if you hadn't been getting your fill of punchy, kicky bullshit in the last couple of weeks, this weekend should have gotten you full up to your happiness quota. So in terms of, got the hiccups. In terms of the events, we're going to start with Bellator 245 from Friday night. But before we get into the shenanigans and the shit talking here, as has been said to me multiple times by folks much smarter than myself, if you find folks enjoy the punchy, kicky shit talking and shenanigans that we get up to here on this channel, let me tell you where you can find a little bit more of it to help satiate that urge. We are on all social media platforms at I'm No Joe. We are on Facebook at I'm No Joe. We are on Instagram at I'm No Joe. We are on YouTube at I'm No Joe. We are also, understandably, if the Instagram influencer level faces are just too distracting for you, fret not, mon ami. We have got you covered there as well. We are available in all audio format for the I'm No Joe podcast through your podcast consumption platform of choice over through anchor.fm/I'm No Joe. And if you really appreciate what we do around here and you want to support the shenanigans that we get up to, patreon.com/I'm No Joe for the behind the scenes, the unaired, and some folks even say the unairable things that we get up to on the I'm No Joe channel. But that being said, let's jump into the holy shit world of fights that we had unplaying this weekend. Starting, like I said, with Bellator 245 from Friday night. This card had so many nut shots. Now, I know we had a card on the UFC not too long ago that seemed like the night of 1,000 nut shots, and I get it. That was a bad night for groin strikes. Bellator 245 Friday night was trying to break that record. Amongst many other things. Tyrell Fortune, the 6'8" monster over in Bellator, essentially lifted a man off the ground and broke his cup. He hit him so fucking hard in the groin. I genuinely feel bad for that gentleman. Then, excuse me. Then we had a very interesting moment where Raymond Daniels, a legitimate world-class kickboxer kickboxer has, like Joe Schilling and many others, made their way from the world of kickboxing into the world of MMA. Raymond Daniels literally spent the week doing press talking about how you have to be humble and you have to stay humble and you have to be humble and you can't overestimate and you have to be humble and you have to be humble. And then in the last 48 hours before he fought, did almost nothing but talk shit about his opponent. And then to put a cherry on top of that Sunday, he spinning wheel kicked his opponent in the dick, not once, but twice. And they still didn't call it a fucking disqualification. They called it a no contest. That should have been a disqualification. Tyrell Fortune's earlier in the night was, you could see it in the slow motion. It was unintentional. Raymond Daniels, on the other hand, the first one was questionable. The second one was ironically placed exactly in the same spot, which was on the dude's groin. My damn marker is dying here. Ain't that about a bitch? Did have another one over here. I don't know where it went either. Awesome. Okay. So Friday night, Kat Zingano looked pretty goddamn good at 145 pounds over in Bellator. She came in fit and ready to get, and she did. Gabby, the gal that she was fighting, came in for a fight of 145. Oh my God, I can't stop yawning. I'm sorry. For a featherweight fight, 145-pound limit. Kat came in exactly on the money at 145, like a fucking pro. Gabby stepped in to the scale at 150.7. Just not even giving a little bit of a fuck. Well, Gabby Holloway got her ass worked. Kat looked pretty goddamn good. You could tell there was still a little bit of ring rust from just not being in there for a minute, but that didn't last long, and she was clearly fresh through the entire fight. And you could see Gabby slowing down early in the match. Fuck. So, excuse me. Damn it, today's fucking crazy. So, main event. We talked about it on Thursday. They confirmed it for us on Friday. Phil Davis and Lyoto Machida have both been in the world of combat sports in one form or another for almost 20 years each. It's time. It's time. Both of them. And the fucked up thing is that we just watched Phil look so good in his last couple fights, and then all of a sudden he looked like the Phil that he was half a dozen fights ago when he just couldn't fucking get it together. And Lyoto looked just as bad. I love the Dragon. Fucking Lyoto Machida is one of the greats, but man, he looked like shit. So did Phil. Both of them. How the fuck do you throw an entire fight and the total number of significant strikes is 29 for Phil Davis, 27 for Lyoto Machida? That's a main event. That's the significant strike count for a main event. Less than 60 total significant strikes. Friday night was a little hard to watch. It was definitely for the hardcore fans, but even then, it was a little hard to watch. So the UFC on Saturday, because they came before the other Bellator card. Excuse me, my allergies are kicking my ass right now. Right out of the gate on the prelims, Sabina Mazo, just looking fucking spectacular. Almost knocked Justine Kish out with a fucking perfectly snapped head kick. But when she wobbled and didn't go out, instead of jumping on her and trying to crown and pound her into submission, she jumped on her and threw a fucking rear naked choke on and made that girl tap with the quickness. Props to Sabina Mazo. That girl is quickly starting to make her name unignorable. Sorry. Sabina Mazo is getting hard to ignore any way you look at it in the UFC game. Quickly putting herself in the ranked area of the ladies' side, I believe. Now, let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. Give me one moment. See if I can actually just pull the card up real quick. So we can break these down a little easier. Sometimes the way this works is while we're watching the fights, I scribble my notes down. Sometimes they're even hard for me to understand because I don't put them necessarily in the order that the fights happen. I put them in the order that they come to me. So sometimes I'm just putting a first name. Sometimes I'm just putting a last name. Even I can confuse myself sometimes. Give me just a moment here. There we go. Okay, pulling the fight card up now. Prelims. There we go. Props to Brian Barberina. He survived that fight. Jylen Turner. Beautiful work against fucking Brock Weaver, but he seemed a little hesitant. He could have finished that fight earlier, I think. He had him in trouble right away, had him bleeding right out of the fucking gate. Alexander Romanov, big new guy. Props on a great fight there. Kevin Kroom, the story of the evening, takes the fight on 1 day notice, ends up having to leave his car in the parking lot in the long-term expensive parking, or he's going to miss the flight to get to Vegas so he can take the fight to begin with. Makes it last minute, shows up, does fucking work. 31 seconds, subs Roosevelt fucking Roberts. A, beautiful fucking debut into the UFC. B, Roosevelt Roberts. I'm starting to think that maybe he's a fluke. The good that we saw in him early on might have just been the best of what he had to offer, and it was a one-time ordeal. He seems to be real submittable lately. Jim Miller, to his credit, is a bad motherfucker, but this is 2 in a row that he got subbed fairly fucking quickly. Props Kevin Kroom. Welcome to the UFC. Roosevelt better fucking reevaluate real hard, real quick. Now bringing us to the premier prelim for the UFC event. It wasn't that premier. Sijiri Eubanks versus Julia Avila, which she has corrected everyone. It's not Avila, it's Avila. So Julia Avila basically gave that fight away. The fight was hers to win. Eubanks was not doing anything special, and she wasn't doing anything particularly great. But Julia looked hesitant. She was slow to react. She wasn't countering properly, and she was just walking herself into bad situations during the fight. And you hate to see it. You hate to say you hate to see it, but you hate to see it even more if it's bad enough that it makes you say you hate to see it. Well, spoiler alert, you hate to see it. She gave the fucking fight away, and the judges agreed with it. So Eubanks got the fucking nod. So bringing us up to the main card, Holy shit. Billy Quarantillo could have finished that fight in the second round. Excuse me, I just realized I called him Quarantillo, and he has corrected us as well. His name is Quarantillo. So he says, so Quarantillo it will be. Billy Quarantillo could have finished that fight in the second round. Ended it very abruptly in the third round, though. Holy shit. Beautiful fucking combination. Beautiful combination. Talked a little bit of excess shit afterwards, a little undeserved. But, you know, I understand it. Adrenaline's pumping. Sometimes that diarrhea of the mouth happens. Props to Billy. Now, I fucking said it on I'm No Joe, and I fucking stand by it now. Bobby Green is a fucking soup can. He looked like shit. He looked lazy as fuck against the soup can that was Alan Patrick. It was soup can on soup can violence, and it was fucking aggravating to watch them go all the way to a goddamn decision. The one thing I will say is props to Bobby Green on foregoing a props to Bobby Green on foregoing his post-fight interview in honor of giving a moment for Naveed, the Iranian fighter who was executed even after requests literally from the world, including Dana White himself and the president of the United States, publicly pleaded with the government Iran to not execute a human being for attending a peaceful protest. Spoiler alert, the Iranian government don't give a fuck, and they executed him anyway. Bobby Green gave his post-fight interview, said there's no reason to talk about my fight, man. Somebody just lost their life. We need to worry about that. So, like I said, no matter how I feel about a person, I try and give credit where credit is due, and that is definitely fucking credit is due. Good on Bobby Green for taking that moment and giving a little bit of light to the story of Naveed. That, on the other hand, will bring us to the biggest what the fuck most of us have seen A, in a long time, and in some cases B, ever take place in an octagon during a live event. One, we talk about it all the time. There has to be some level of accountability for a referee that makes a discernibly bad call. Because we had a referee who made a discernibly bad call on Saturday night. There was a clash where slow motion from two different angles on the replay showed that Ed Herman took a strong knee to the liver that dropped him against the fence. He played like he had been hit in the groin, and the referee, who was way out of position to see what actually happened, jumped in, and instead of calling the fight stopped because Ed Herman was on the fucking ground done, he jumped in and called timeout and went with the groin strike, thinking that that's what he saw, because Ed Herman was acting the fuck up like he'd been hit in the groin, even though he looked right up at the screen along with everyone else in the apex and saw the replay from multiple angles along with us who were watching live that could show you very clearly from multiple different angles that knee did not go anywhere near his cup. I will say this, there was one angle, just one, where it kind of gave you the impression that in the process of swinging the knee and bringing it back down, Mike Rodriguez might have accidentally grazed the top on a downward motion and caught the cup. But even then, it wouldn't have been nearly to the degree that Ed Herman, like soccer player, fell to the ground and Days of Our Lives acted the fuck up. He acted like he had been hit in the groin, knowing that's what the referee said that he saw. and then he took his time and quote unquote recovered and got back in the fight. Ended up getting a fucking crazy submission on Mike Rodriguez, turned it around and won the fight after he got his recovery time from bad acting and lying about getting hit in the groin. That wasn't really the worst part of it for me. The worst part of it for me was that in his post-fight interview, when Bisping specifically asked him, like, you know, what the fuck happened here, his response was, oh, I don't know what happened. We'll have to go back and watch the tape. Motherfucker, you don't have to watch no fucking tape. You know what happened. And we all agreed it's not Ed Herman's fault that the referee didn't see what actually happened and thought he did and acted on what he thought. It's not Ed Herman's fault. He was entitled to take a minute of break, but he got extra with it and played it up and milked the time and then tried to downplay it in the post-fight interview. That's some bitch-made bullshit, Ed Herman. That's some bullshit. The problem was is he landed a fucking beautiful Kimura to finish that match coming off of his bullshit acting. And it was a very nice Kimura. And Mike Rodriguez is tough as shit for rolling with it the way that he did and not giving up, because a lot of people would have given up way before he tapped. That will bring us to our People's Co-Main event. Roxanne Modafferi and Andrea Lee was a very interesting fight. It was back and forth, and it was pretty fucking close. It was a lot closer than I or anybody on the I'm No Joe show thought it was going to be, because we were talking about it live as it was going down, and it was way, way closer than any of us thought that it was going to be. Not that that's a bad thing, just we did not think it was going to go that way at all based on what we had seen from both of those ladies in their previous outings. Sorry, I just had a piece of my fucking fingernail rip off while I was talking. It caught on the lip of my desk here. Ow. Trying to clip the fucking rough part while I was trying to keep my fucking thought on the fight. Sorry, got a little scatterbrain there. Was a little fucking distracted. That fucking hurts. Anyways, Modafferi versus Lee was a lot closer than we thought it was going to be. I thought Modafferi's ground game would have been much better than it presented itself, and it wasn't because of Andrea Lee's defense. Because Andrea Lee, to her credit, looked much better on the feet. She was piecing Roxanne Modafferi up on the feet. But as soon as it got to the ground, Roxanne was pretty much in control. The problem was she wasn't doing a lot of damage, and she wasn't getting a lot of progress towards good submissions. She attempted a bunch. She did land a good amount of strikes while on the ground, so that it wasn't just a lay and pray. They never got stood up. This wasn't a Lewis Ngannou fucking match here. We don't have anything that extreme on the ladies' side, but still a lot to be desired from both sides there. That being said, that will bring us to the co-main event of the evening, which was one of the shorter fights on the whole fucking card, ironically enough. Kama Worthy versus Atman Azaitar, the Moroccan mauler. Holy shit. TLDR, Kama Worthy was not worthy in the least bit. Atman came out from the jump swinging for the fucking fences, not concerned in the least bit about catching anything back was literally just swinging. I don't want to say reckless is the wrong word. Without fear of repercussion, I think is the best way to put it. He came out and was throwing fucking hammers from the jump, and they connected. Boy, did they fucking connect. Kama Worthy got fucking hurt. And it's funny because when the ref stepped in to stop it, even he kind of tried to object a little bit. And about the time he was trying to argue with the ref, you saw the replay come up on the screen in the apex. And he watched his own replay and then stopped arguing with the referee about the stoppage. Even he knew once he saw, like, oh shit, no, he got me. I went the fuck out. Yeah, Atman Zatar is very quickly, again, becoming a name people better pay the fuck attention to, because he's about to be a real big problem in the lightweight division, I think. Sorry about that. But that will bring us to the main event of the evening for UFC. Michelle Karate Hottie Watterson versus Angela Overkill Hill. I will say this, because I still try and give credit where credit is due. Michelle Watterson got better as the fight went on. She started a little rough, to say the least. She started a little rough. Angela Hill absolutely took round one and took the better part, I would say, of round two. Not all of it by any stretch of the imagination. That's when Watterson really turned it on and started putting the fucking pedal down. But 3, 4, and 5 were all Karate Hottie. Angela Hill put up a little bit of an effort in 5, but not enough. Unanimous decision, surprise, surprise, for Watterson. Or not unanimous decision, I'm sorry. Split decision, 2-1, Watterson. It's been a long day. I apologize, folks. I'm a little bit scatterbrained, but I wanted to talk to you folks about some of these fights. Now, Bellator 246, the last event of the evening, of Saturday evening. Wrap these up and we'll get the fuck on out of here. Before we get to Bellator, as far as the UFC card from Saturday night goes, fight of the night was Watterson versus Hill. For some fucking reason, it was not the best fight of the evening by any stretch, but Dana gave it to him. Good for them. 50 G's each. Performance of the night: Atman Zatar and Kevin Kroon. The other thing that I will say about Saturday night that Dana confirmed that I think is pretty fucking awesome, which is kind of a rare thing to hear someone say about something that Dana White is doing. He was as mad, if not madder, about the shit that happened with the Ed Herman and Mike Rodriguez fight, and confirmed that Mike Rodriguez is getting a win bonus for that fight. He won that fight. He is fucking, Dana's furious about that. Mike Rodriguez is getting a win bonus for that fucking fight. As far as he's concerned, Dana says he won that fight. Ed Herman knows he won that fight, and the referee is damn sure before it's all said and done going to know that Mike Rodriguez won that fucking fight. That referee really fucked Mike Rodriguez, because I was discussing this with somebody earlier today. Even if they wanted to, the commission, the athletic commission, cannot overturn a submission win for Ed Herman into a TKO win for Mike Rodriguez. Best case scenario, what they could do would be to overturn Ed Herman's win on the grounds of the mistake by the referee and make it a no contest on both parts, so it doesn't count as a win or a loss. They can't make it a win, but I think they should, and they probably will turn that into a no contest. I don't think that stands as a win for Ed Herman for very fucking long. But Kevin Kroon makes a debut on one fucking day's notice, wins the fight, and gets the fucking 50 G's notice. That's how you make your fucking impression felt when you make your debut in the UFC. Props to Kevin fucking Kroon. But good for Mike Rodriguez that he's still getting his win money, because even Dana recognized there was some shit going on there. But now back to Bellator 246. Basically, it started 2/3 of the way through the UFC event. Excuse me. So the main event of the UFC was going on with the People's co-main event on Bellator. Basically, Liz Carmouche was fighting right alongside, channel-wise, timing-wise, with Michelle Watterson and Angela Hill. It was a little ironic, to say the least. But starting right away with Keone Diggs, dude, he was a Hawaiian backpack for most of that fucking fight. He was all over his fucking back. Just not fucking good for him at all as a display. Let's see if I can get this fight card pulled up as well. Yeah. Derek Campos basically got outworked everywhere in that fucking fight. There was nowhere that they took it that Keone Diggs wasn't just having his fucking way and doing what he wanted to with Derek Campos. I will say the Liz Carmouche versus Deanna Bennett fight was way more competitive, even though it was shorter, than Kat Zingano versus Gabby Holloway. Kat Zingano versus Gabby Holloway felt a lot like Kat kind of getting her feet back underneath her in terms of MMA, and then just outworking a way less experienced, way more out of shape, way more out of shape soup can, whereas Liz Carmouche came out against somebody who was legitimately giving her problems, but she solved those problems real quick and managed to sink herself a beautiful submission with the fucking quickness. That being said, that brings us to the Bellator co-main event. I said it when we talked about it on I'm No Joe. I'm going to say it again now. This was a fucking overly slept on fight. Neiman Gracie is the face of the new breed of Gracies. He is that next evolution of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu meets full, well-rounded boxing and grappling and just a true MMA technician, a literal mixed martial artist in the truest sense of the word. In this case, he just happens to have Gracie Jiu-Jitsu as his fucking base level to build off of. And it looked beautiful. He submitted John Fitch for the second and final time in his career, because after Neiman submitted him, John Fitch officially retired, took his gloves off then and there and set them down in the octagon. And Neiman Gracie gave up his interview so that John McCarthy could talk with John Fitch when he decided to retire and give him his moment to say his piece and to thank the crowd. I'm getting fucking goosebumps talking about it right now. I'm not fucking joking. Neiman Gracie gave his fucking moment up so that John Fitch could talk with Big John McCarthy and officially retire respectfully, and he could thank the crowd and thank his coaches and his team and everyone else, and said literally that I've been thinking about retiring for a while. I just didn't want to go out on a loss. And when the last fight was a draw, I thought, well, I better give it one more go. And when Neiman came in, Neiman got it. And John Fitch's own words, there is no person I would rather pass the torch on to than this gentleman here. He is a perfect example of sportsmanship that we strive for in this world. And then he retired and walked away. I mean, realistically speaking, without the juice that everyone is pretty fucking sure he's on, he should have retired a couple of years ago. But hey, he sauced up, got big. came back, was relevant and competitive for a while, but that while has come to its end, and now his watch is ended. John Fitch is done. Good on you. Awesome fucking submission by Neiman Gracie, who got a inverted heel hook and a knee bar in the same move upside down. It was fucking crazy. And then immediately gave props to John Danaher and said that he learned that move and exactly how to set that up the way that he did from John Danaher. And if you want to learn how to do that, you can buy John Danaher's DVD. And everyone was like, did he really just fucking sale pitch the Danaher system DVD? He did. He took his post-fight interview to sales pitch for John Danaher. Yo, good on you. Good on you. Because it worked. It worked beautifully. And anybody who wants to learn how to do that exact thing, now you know how and where. That, though, will bring us to our final fight that we will talk about this evening, the main event of the evening for Bellator 246. Juan the Spaniard Archuleta versus Patrick Patchy Mix. This fight came down to a matter of experience dictating game plan. Patchy came in working hard. You could see he fucking wanted it. But you could also see he wasn't good with how he was expending his energy and where he was choosing to burst and explode and where he was choosing to reserve and kind of coast. And this was a 5-round title fight. Like, this wasn't going to be decided in the first round. And I think the only person who didn't really know that was Patchy Mix. To his credit, he landed some beautiful shots and a couple times had Juan hurt. I don't want to say in trouble or in danger, but he had him hurt a couple times. The problem was Juan Archuleta's experience shined through. He could read almost everything that Patchy was throwing at him or was going to throw at him like a book. And just relentlessly from the first chance he got until the end of the fight was throwing body shots of every which way, shape, and size from every angle. He paid dividends to that kid's body from the beginning, and it slowed him down almost immediately, but he didn't stop. He held it to him, just overworked him, and outground him all the way through to get the decision and get the belt. Juan Archuleta is now the Bellator bantamweight title holder. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him, especially considering Patchy Mix was talking all kinds of shit this week about how he's the best 135-pound fighter on the planet and that he would knock Peter Yan the fuck out. And then couldn't stop Juan Archuleta, who's not a 135-pounder, from coming down to 135 pounds and beating that ass to take the fucking belt back home with him. And I think maybe the worst part about Patchy Mix getting so cocky and ill-prepared and dispensed with his energy is that we had to watch Juan Archuleta's fucking post-fight interviews and post-fight press conference with him wearing that fucking stupid conquistador outfit. I get it, your nickname's the Spaniard, but there is a fucking time and a place for cosmetics and theatrics. It's the weigh-ins, not the post-fights. But, like I say, regardless of your feelings, props to Juan Archuleta for absolutely guiding how that fight went from start to finish and using his experience to win himself the bantamweight title over in Bellator. He is officially the champion. But that, boys and girls, is all we have for this evening. So I'm going to wrap this up and let you fine folks get the fuck on out of here. We managed to keep this under an hour. I'm getting pretty good at keeping these recaps under an hour for you. That being said, if you enjoy these recaps, if you like what we do here, if you appreciate the input that we give you, the news that we bring you, and the confirmation of events, the recaps that we just give you what you need in the world of punchy kicky, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification so you don't miss a show, and share an episode so that someone else can learn about the fun that we have here and the news that I bring you. On the other side of that coin, though, if I'm just some dipshit sitting in front of a webcam, can't even talk. If I'm just some dipshit sitting in front of a webcam who brings his friends in front of their webcams and talks out their ass without knowing what they're actually saying, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. We earned it and we won't dispute it. But that being said, we are going to call it all for this evening. So remember, till next time, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Have a great night, folks.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.